Can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background?
My name is Jasleen. I'm 17 years old. I just graduated high school from Elgin Park, and I graduated as valedictorian. In the fall, I'll be going to the University of Toronto, studying social sciences, and I'll be playing lacrosse there as well.
Awesome. And then just moving on to the next question, what are your current interests or passions?
My current interests or passions, like a lot of the stuff I did in high school was like community service based. So like kind of like helping like less fortunate people. So like I kind of like doing that and like focusing on my community too, but like underprivileged communities. Like I do a lot of work with like anti-racism and stuff like that. So like I like getting things like started like where like other organizations haven't started. So like in high school I like did all my school's like first ever like cultural events and all that stuff. So like I like getting like things like started like from the ground up, like in terms of anti-racism. And in community service, like, I just like helping other youth get involved. So I like, like jumpstarting or spearheading a project so people can get involved.
Can you build a little bit on the anti-racism thing that you had mentioned that you starting from the ground up?
Yeah, so I started the anti-racism committee at my school in grade 11. And so before then, like, it is like a mainly like Caucasian like school in terms of demographic. So there wasn't like a lot of like celebration or like awareness towards like people of color. So when we started the committee, I basically spearheaded the first ever Diwali, Lunar New Year, and Vaisakhi events. And then we did like a couple other like small ones like Black History Month and stuff like that. So yeah, so it was really cool. Like we got a lot of students involved, like who were part of the BIPOC community and everything, and just kind of like spread like like what the culture was about to the school. And so because like with like more understanding of what the culture is about, like a lot of people tend to like appreciate it more. So that was the goal. Yeah.
What are you currently doing in terms of university work? What do you have lined up in the near future here that you're going to be actively doing?
Well, in this summer, I have like a job where I'm working with these like Japanese students who come from Japan, obviously, and basically like we kind of like tour them around like White Rock, but like Surrey, like all around BC, but like it's mainly just like Richmond, White Rock, and BC, and then like I'm a TA, so we just kind of like help them out in the classroom and stuff. So I'm doing that for a couple weeks, and then in August I'll move to Toronto to go to university.
What motivated you to choose this path? I know you've talked a lot about activism so far, as well as the whole lacrosse thing, going to U of T, and even the social sciences. What motivated you to go down this route?
Well, like lacrosse is like I've been playing lacrosse like, since I've been like a little kid, like since like grade 3 or something like that. So like that is one of the main reasons I went to U of T. But then the main reason I'm studying social sciences because I'm interested in like international relations or like public policy and stuff. Like it would be cool to work for like the UN or something like in the near like future. So that's kind of like why I chose U of T because they're a really good school for social sciences and everything. Yeah.
And then this one's a little different. A lot of people might have them, might not. Everyone has a different perspective on what dreams are. Do you have any dreams? And these dreams might not have to be realistic, such as being a professional lacrosse player, or let's say you wanted to play in the WNBA, or just dreams in general. What do you have any dreams?
Like as of right, like they change like every now and then, right? Cause like, but one of my biggest dreams, I guess it's like a goal, but it is kind of a dream because it's like hard to do, is like start a nonprofit organization. Like whatever I do end up studying in school, like I do hope to like start something around that. Like that is one of my biggest goals or dreams. It's been like that, like I kind of started thinking about it when I was like in grade 9, because like when I started doing like all this stuff, like all this club stuff. So I think it would be cool, like like to be able to like help people and like for it to like go international and everything like that.
And then you just touched on goals a little bit. Are you one of those people that has short-term and long-term goals?
I try to. Yeah.
Can you talk us through a little bit of your short-term goals here over the next year or 2 years that you might have?
Well, like short-term, like for right now. So like the lacrosse season is starting soon. So like I want to make sure like like I'm training really well to make sure like I'm, like a starter first year on the team and everything like that. And it's a short season. It's because it's in the like Ontario League. So like I hope. Well, it's kind of long-term, but like I hope like I can help the team win the OUA championship. Yeah.
Anything more than that? Is that moving forward into long-term goals? Is there any long-term goals you have that you see yourself trying to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years?
Long-term goals. that nonprofit organization, like talking about starting one of those. I kind of want to do that like post grad, so like maybe like 5 years down the line. That's all I can think of right now. That's all I can think of.
I know you've talked about this not-for-profit as well as getting prepared for the season ahead of time for your first season at U of T with playing lacrosse. How do you see yourself achieving these goals that you have? Like, what work do you plan on putting in, and what steps do you think are necessary for you to achieve these goals?
Yeah, so like for lacrosse, like I like set forth like a training plan for the summer. So like really following that and like staying committed to that is how I'm hoping to like achieve that goal. And then in terms of like the nonprofit, I feel like doing like, so originally like what I thought for the nonprofit was like it would be like mental health based, like South Asian mental health. So I feel like so my plan is to 2 majors in university, and so one of them would be psychology. So hoping like from what I learned from that, like maybe I could take steps to like join clubs or start clubs at university that would like kind of help better my understanding, so that when I do start that nonprofit, it like I have more experience and stuff. So yeah.
What do you talked a lot about this non-for-profit thing and opening it up. Can you talk us a little bit more of what you want that to look like?
Yeah.
What would you ideally have it look like? What do you want it to be? What do you want it to mean to people?
So like the main, like I've had like a couple different ideas, but like the main one that I have is like mental health like has always been like a big deal to me, because a lot of people in my family have struggled from it and stuff. So like kind of seeing the impact that it's had on the family, and like kind of most South Asian families too, it's like kind of like shoved under the rug. So I like my hope for it is that like once I become like a professional in the field or something like that, then I could like go, like the plan is like I could go to like high schools or like elementary schools and then educate the parents, and you can also educate the students. So it would kind of start in like schools, because I feel like it does start from the parents, and kind of like like what to look for in your child, or like like how to deal with it, because I feel like those are all tools that like are necessary. And yeah, I would kind of focus it in the South Asian community, but then once it gets bigger, then I can like make it more like widespread.
Okay, moving on to our next segment. What are some of the favorite parts you've experienced throughout your journey so far of life? And this could be lacrosse, high school, just some of your favorite moments that really stand out to you.
Favorite moments? Oh man. Well, like I guess recently being valedictorian, like giving the speech was like pretty cool, because like like it's like a big honor and stuff. It was like, because I went into like grade 8, like I was like really shy, and like I didn't like talk to many people and stuff, and I'd set that goal for myself then. So it was really cool like to see 5 years down the line me like be able to achieve that and actually like like be a completely different person. Well, like so my parents always made sure that me and my brother had like a lot of like different opportunities and got to experience a lot of things growing up. So we got to travel to a lot of different places. So like we have so many memories from like all our different trips, and like some of my favorite ones have been like we went to Costa Rica, like when I like 2019, we created like lots of memories there. And we went to Italy too, and that was really cool. So like all those trips like really like will like help our family like bond more, but like we always come back with like inside jokes that we like still use to this day, and so I feel like that's like really fun. Yeah.
Okay, along with valuable and good experiences in life, there's always the challenges and the obstacles. So I just wanted you to speak on some of the challenges you faced so far along your journey.
So I guess like I could start with like, so going to like a primarily like white school, it kind of was always like a challenge to fit in. You always like, even like with students and with teachers too, like you would be stereotyped because just the color of your skin. So like kind of always having to like work double as hard and like do double as hard just to be like accepted or just to be friends with somebody, like trying like constantly, like it was kind of like an identity crisis, like do you be yourself or do you be who they want you to be? And so I struggled a lot with that, like going into high school and stuff. And like as I got further on, like along like grade 10, like after that kind of stuff, I kind of realized that it's like it's not really the end of the world. Like the people I'm trying to be accepted by like aren't really like good people anyways. And it was kind of the same thing in like my like lacrosse career as well, because it is like a predominantly white sport. Like I was always either the only like person of color on my team, which usually is, or I was like the only South Asian person on my team. So like kind of like the coaches would always like overlook you because like I guess your people don't have like an experience playing this sport. Like I've had teammates tell me that like their grandparents and great grandparents have played, and like they assumed the same thing for me. And like when I told them they didn't, they were like said something like, oh, like like really like snarky comments, like something like, oh, well, it's always great to have new people to the community. Like like it was never like I never felt accepted, and so like that struggle like made me struggle a lot with like my confidence, like playing the sport. And so it wasn't until I got older, like, because I always had the skill, but like doing it in the game was a struggle because like if I messed, like for me, if I messed up, it would be over for me. Whereas if it was like my white teammate, they would get a second chance because I was like on a shorter leash and stuff, so that like maybe struggled a lot with my confidence in the sport. But I grew from it. And yes, like just also not ever being like feeling like you were like with everyone, like never accepted on the team was kind of an issue. Like that sort of same thing, the confidence thing. When I was in grade 11, so like I play lacrosse outside of school, like for a travel team, but when I was in grade 11, they decided they were gonna like make a school team. So there's only 3 other girls who play lacrosse. Yeah, 3 other girls play lacrosse in my school, field lacrosse. And so when they were gonna like have, it was like a tournament with all like BC like high school people, like I played with all 3 of them like my entire life, like since grade 3. And when it came time to like actually making the team, I found out like during the tournament, I didn't even know the tournament was happening. And then I found out like through like social media, like through our school's thing, that there was this tournament and then our school had a team. And they basically didn't ask me to be on their team. And they said that they forgot I played lacrosse. And I played with them my entire life. And the thing was like, was the skill an issue? No. But it was just like things like that. But that was a big turnaround point for me because I do remember like after that, like I wanted to like finally, I still struggle with confidence in the sport like to that point. I remember like that day, like I went home and like from onwards, like I practiced every day for like 4 hours a day to prove them wrong. And I outpassed the little bit of skill they had, scoring like 5 goals a game. Like I just went off. So yeah, that's that.
And you've talked a little bit about the not feeling like you fit in and some of the times you were excluded from certain things. And it sounds like you believe race played a part in that.
Yeah.
Can you touch a little bit more on the racism that you faced throughout your few years, especially in high school or other community events you did?
Yeah. So I feel like stereotyping like has a lot to do with it, because like for example, if they see a brown person like this, like the area we live in is generally a white area, so they see like other schools with brown people in it and they assume like that I act like that. So before they even get to meet you, they already have this like list of assumptions, and it takes a while to like break down that barrier. So that's why I always felt like it's like kind of played a role, because like they have this barrier up because they see you as somebody who you're actually not. And so then that like this difficulty with like connecting and stuff like that. I mean, like it's always like it's like a hidden bias kind of thing, and that's like always been an issue. But like also like little things, like little like microaggressions and stuff, like people would say, like I guess if it's like normal, like if there's a large amount of people saying it, then it's okay. So like, people would make jokes about brown people, about Asian people, like about anything, and it would just like fly under everybody. Like teachers would hear it, everyone, like it wouldn't matter. Like you would walk around the hallway and somebody would like say the N-word and like dap up a black person. Like it was like pretty bad, but like the school just ignored it because it was like normalized in that sense. Because so many people were doing it, it was like just normal, and they're like, oh, what can we do about it? Like, you know, it's just a part of the school culture. It was essentially a part of the school culture. Oh, and like, so like kind of like thing how I was talking about how, you know, like if you want, you have to be a certain way in order to hang around with a certain amount of people. So there was a lot of like of my classmates that I did, like South Asian classmates that I saw, like from grade 8 to grade 12, like they were different people, like not in a good way, in a bad way, because they wanted to hang around with a certain group of people. So one day, like, so I was talking about all those like events that we had done. So I think it was like the Wally event or something, and it had gone on the announcements. Okay. So like being like the person whose community is being represented, you should be showing support, because then like the people who aren't like Caucasian people or whatever, they'll follow suit, seeing that, okay, someone from that community is doing it, we're friends with them, maybe we should, you know, support it as well. But we'll like this announcement come on, like talking about the event or whatever, and one of the, or 2 people actually had said, oh, something about like, oh, why does this school only celebrate brown events? Why don't they ever celebrate white events? And I got on this entire rant. And I don't think like they realize like, just like they obviously don't mean it. Like nobody, I don't blame them for them, like they don't mean it. But like they were just trying to fit in. But like that just like further like ruins the issue about like, they're like, oh, so if a brown person is saying they don't want these events, why would we accept it? So it's just kind of like, I don't know. It was a lot of like people just trying to fit in, which just kind of ruins everyone else's reputation. And it was like, yeah.
And then just to touch a little bit on the South Asian community as well. growing up in a predominantly white area as well as attending predominantly white schools, did you ever find it was difficult, like almost a little bit of an identity crisis where you don't know if you can fit in with the Caucasian people that you're surrounded with, and then moving over to the South Asian Indian people, you found it a little difficult. Did you find it difficult to kind of balance, as you felt like you were in between, or did you find it a little easier to connect with the South Asian community than with the Caucasian community?
Yeah, I feel like from a young age, I didn't notice it as much, but like once like you kind of started getting higher grades in elementary school and people kind of started like expressing their opinions, like being racist or whatever, like I kind of like it was an identity crisis because like I had to act a certain way towards my white friends, but like that still wasn't good enough for them. But then with brown people, it was like you're too white. So you weren't white enough for the white people, you weren't brown enough for the brown people. So it's like this middle ground where I was like, where do I really belong? Do you know what I'm saying? And like throughout like my journey, like I did find people like where I felt like I did belong. But like it's still like to this day like not really like belonging to a community, like kind of just like floating in the middle. Just kind of like wondering like, like throughout like my life, like what could I have done different? But I realized like nothing is my fault. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like what, like you don't have to be like completely brown or like completely like whitewashed, I guess you could say, like in order like to function society. Like you know what I'm saying? Like so then I feel like I meshed both sides of me like when I like got to like feel like grade 10 or something like that. And that's where I really found like the people who like where I felt belonging to and who like actually like felt including and all that stuff. So yeah.
I know you touched a little bit on it within your questions, but just a little bit of insight on how you overcame some of these obstacles that you just mentioned.
I feel like I had to do like to overcome the obstacles, like for example, like kind of like the identity crisis and all that stuff. Like I really feel like I had to like reflect inward and like kind of really think about what I was doing, because before I think I was just unconsciously like doing it. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to be like, okay, like if I do this or I act like this, then I'll fit in. But it became like such like a repetitive cycle that I didn't even realize what I was doing. So once I like kind of like stepped back and like really like looked at the situation at hand, that's when I kind of like took steps forward and I kind of like like removed people from my life who didn't include me, or I didn't like like I was just trying like forcing myself to get along with. Like I kind of like had to set a lot of boundaries like with myself and with other people, and like did that like offend other people, like yes, but like thinking like my mental health and like kind of like me, I'm more important than like anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like so setting boundaries like was like a main thing that I had to do. But yeah, that's kind of how I like try to overcome that.
We talked a lot about the obstacles that you've already overcame and that you faced. What are some of the biggest obstacles you believe you're going to be facing in this near future here as your life transitions from living in BC to now Ontario and attending university, etc.? What do you think some of the biggest obstacles you might come up against are?
Well, like you said, like moving from like this like BC to like a whole new province, like it's gonna be like a really big transition. Like university as is a big transition that I think will like be an obstacle. Like going from like high school with like 30 kids in your class to going with like hundreds of kids in like one class where the teacher doesn't even know your name. You know what I'm saying? So like that's an obstacle. Like also with dealing just with, like not being like at home like with my family, because me and my family are really close. So I feel like that'll be like a big challenge for me, like for the first 2 months, like having to adjust to that. But yeah, like I'm hoping like like I'll be able to like meet new people along the way where like they kind of become like family. So yeah.
Who are the most influential people in your life right now, you feel?
I think the most influential people in my life are probably my parents, because they've always like kind of like told us that like family is number one. Like it's like just the four of us, and all like the life lessons that like my parents have taught me is like shaped me into the person I've become. Like seeing like all their hard work and sacrifices like have motivated me to become like a really good person. So they've been influential. Like they've been really supportive throughout my whole life. Like I've told them like all the stuff that I've done, like they've never doubted me. They've just showed support. And so I'm really grateful for that. No, but yeah, they're for sure like the most influential people, just because like, like they're always like when you like other people from outside try to give you advice, like I do take it, but I always take it with a grain of salt, because like my parents, like they've obviously known you from day one, you know what I'm saying? So they know how you are, like your tendencies and all this stuff. So like, they've always like given me advice that like betters me. And so that's why, like I have a lot of trust in them and everything. And yeah, most of my success is because of my parents. And so I'm, really grateful for that. My parents support me like kind of I said like that kind of advice thing. But like anytime like I have an idea, like for example like this nonprofit thing I want to start, like I've told them that before, and like a lot like of the stuff like that I have, like they have their own ideas. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's almost as like a, it's like a, every time I tell them about anything or like anything, it's like a collaborative like session. Like I always leave with more. So I feel like they've supported me like that, and you know all the stuff that I've done like for example like lacrosse, like you know, they've always like, you know, made sure that I can go to all my tournaments. They've always come with me, like come to all my games, like, you know, always kind of been there for me. And so, yeah.
I guess the next segment is a little bit more about your future. So what are some of the things you're most excited for in your future here coming up?
I'm excited to move to Toronto, like a new city and everything. Like that'll be really fun. I traveled there like a while ago, but like it was only like for like a few days. So, you know, I'm like really excited to like actually be living there and like, you know, like even like I am scared to like live alone, like I think it will be fun, like, you know, it'll be like a new change, like being independent and everything. Meeting new people is like something I'm really excited about because like, you know, like being like just talking to the same people like from high school like for 5 years, it was kind of exhausting. So you know, I'm excited to like meet new people, and yeah, like all like the new experiences, like it's like a brand new city. Well, like I did visit the team like back in like October, so like they do seem like a really like fun like group of people to be around. So you know, I'm excited to like meet them and like get to know them better, and like kind of like all like the upper year like people have like kind of been really good like in mentoring and stuff. So I'm like happy to like, you know, like get to know them more and all that. Yeah, looking forward to it.
What are some of the things you're worried about that you're a little stressed out about?
Like, you know, like on like a lower level, like I kind of am worried about like not waking up, like, you know, like because like there's like a time difference. So like I thought the time difference was like, so it's 3 hours ahead. I thought it was 3 hours behind. So I thought I would go there and start waking up at 6 a.m. And then I realized that it's 3 hours ahead. So that means I won't be waking up at 6 a.m. And I'll be waking up at 9 a.m. or later than that. So I'm kind of worried about that if I'm being honest with you. But like I feel like I have a roommate, so I will feel bad if I don't shut my alarm off. So I think that'll help me out. Yes, that's kind of a big worry. I mean, there's like little like minor things, like, you know, like should I bring a backpack or do I not bring a backpack? I guess in the far future, like it's kind of like expensive like these days, so you know I'm kind of like, you know, worried like, you know, to have to pay for stuff, but you know, like buy a house and such, like it's getting a little bit worried. Well, like in terms of university, I feel like I've never stayed away from home for more than like a week. So like now this is like 6 months or actually longer than that. I don't know how many months it is. I haven't counted. So I don't know. I'm just really like worried about that I'm just gonna be like being away from my family. It's just gonna be like, you know, like I don't know. Like it's obviously gonna be, I'm gonna be like sad about it. So like I feel like that's gonna like affect me. I'm also just worried for like the difficulty of classes. Like I don't know, like I don't know, when I thought university, I thought I had school every day. I don't have school every day, but like still, like it seems much more like intense. Like it's very serious. Like this next stage of my life seems like very serious, and like to this point right now, it's been like unserious. Like, you know, it's just kind of been like LOL. Like I don't know how to describe it, but like, you know, like live, laugh, love. But now it's like actually getting like serious. And actually, sorry, I remembered. So one thing I'm worried about, I feel like, is like time, like not having enough time, or like time going by too fast. I've always been worried about that actually. Like, you know, like I feel like all the stuff that I want to do, I'm not gonna have enough time to do it. And like that just like, yeah, that just makes me worry. Cause you know, like not meeting my fullest potential, because I don't have enough time. So yeah.
Next question I have is a little bit about personal growth. Reflecting on your last year or two, or even if you want to go throughout high school. I know you've touched a little bit on how you were a quieter person, and then as you went through high school, one of your goals to get more outward, more out there and talking, and you hit that goal of being valedictorian.
Yeah.
So if you want to expand a little bit on that, or maybe something new in terms of how you've changed as a person within these last few years.
I guess in terms of how I've changed as a person, like I did go to grade 8, like, is really, like, shy. Like, growing up, I was always, like, that kid who would, like, hide behind their parent. You know, like, when you ever go anywhere, like, I was behind. Like, I was scared. Like, I didn't, like, any, like, relative or nothing, like, it would be a struggle for me to say hi to them. Like, I just didn't. Like, I was just really, like, shy. I think I struggled a lot with self-confidence, too. And so going into grade 8, I was, like, you know, like I wanted, like, because, you know, it's a fresh start, like, you know, it's a new school, even though some of the same people, like, are from elementary school, like, I was, you know, it's a new start. So, like, I do remember setting a goal for myself there, like I said, the valedictorian thing, I want to be valedictorian, but, like, I did, like, take steps, like, you know, like, joining stuff like student council, and so, like, when I actually, like, not until grade 12 that I really look back and realize, like, how far I made it. Like, I went from grade 8, where it was, like, I literally did not want to, like, talk to anybody new. Like, I was just clinging to those friends I had from elementary school, which you don't even talk to anymore, when you think about it. But, it was just, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, I was, like, I guess you could say introverted? 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 But, like, I wouldn't say I'm, like, completely extrovert. Like, a lot of people, like, that's what I mean, like, I still think of myself as introverted because what I've been, like, my entire life, okay? So, but, like, now that I look, like, forward, and, like, I'm actually, like, coming across, like, new people I meet, like, they only see me as, like, you know, like, this extroverted person. So, I guess I could say, like, I'm extroverted now. But, like, yeah, like, just going out of my way, like, you know, like, meeting new people, like, saying hi to, like, I would never do that. Like, I would never, like, you know, like, be the first one to initiate the conversation, where, like, now I feel like I can do that, like, and more.
There's always good and bad qualities you see in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to talk a little bit on the qualities you have. So what are some of the best qualities you believe you have?
Oh, wow. The best ones? I think I'm, like, a pretty friendly person. I think that's a good quality, you know. I don't know if it's really, like, a quality, but, like, I always, like to, like, because, like, I know from, like, my experience, like, you know, like, never feeling, like, included. I always want to make sure, like, that anybody new I meet, like, whether, like, new to a group or, like, you know, like, the mutual friend, like, I always want to make sure, like, they feel included. I guess it's, like, I feel like if you say it, like, it's not true, but, like, I feel like I'm a pretty funny person. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not, like, very, like, serious, so, like, most things, like, that I say are really unserious, and they just come across as funny.
What are some personal qualities or skills you want to develop over the next 2 years?
Develop. Oh, I feel like a lot of things I feel like I do, like, I feel like well, it's been like this since, like, I'm young. Like, I, like, rush, like, everything that I do. Like, when I, like, get an idea, I just get so excited, I just, like, rush through it, and it doesn't even end up good. So, like, I feel like I need to, like, you know, like, learn how to, like, just enjoy the process, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a good one. I learn how to enjoy the process, like, be in the present moment. I feel like I look too much, like, to the future of, like, what's next, like, what is this going to get me, like, if I do this, like, this is going to happen. But I feel like I just need to work on staying, like, present in the present moment and just kind of, like, enjoying what I have now. Like, still, like, obviously looking to the future, because you got to be realistic. But, like, you know, enjoying the process. Yeah.
How do you think society views the path you've chosen?
Well, like, it's an unconventional route, like, in terms of, like, I don't really know. There's not a single person in my family who's gone to university to play a sport. So, like, it's kind of different in that, which I feel like my family has all been, like, really, like, accepting of it. Oh, yeah, like, I feel like it is kind of, like, a way, like, obviously, like, lacrosse is not my main part. Like, I am going to school to go for school. Like, there's nothing after, there's no, like, there's professional lacrosse league, but I'm not looking to be a professional lacrosse player. Like, it's not that serious. So, I think, it's, like, a lot of people think, like, you know, am I really going to be focused? But everyone's been really accepting of it. But I do think, like, from, like, because, like, now that, like, you know, you see everybody, like, you see them at, like, functions and everything, they ask where you're going, and, like, every time I say that I'm going away, it's kind of always like, well, why do you need to go away? Because most people don't go away, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm grateful my parents are, like, letting me go away. But also, like, I feel like that's how you grow. You know what I'm saying? You can't just, like, stay at home and then, you know, keep doing the same thing over and over again. But yeah, like, kind of, like, I know, like, most people have been, like, accepting, like, oh, okay, you know, she's moving away, but a lot of people, but yeah, for the people who haven't been accepting of it, like, I get, like, you know, like, it's more, like, the older generation, and I think, like, you know, like, it's, like, something new, you know what I'm saying? Like, there hasn't been a lot of people in my family who have gone away for school, so they think, like, you know, like, you can get the same education if you just stay at home, but it's also kind of, like, yeah, I know I can, but, like, this is a new experience. But yeah, no, everyone's been accepting of it, and I'm very happy about that. #grateful.
So you would say you feel supported or judged by society for your choices?
I would say I feel, like, it depends, like, when I think of society, like, most people who really ever give me their honest opinion is, like, my family, like, and then, like, you know, like, everyone in the family. So, I don't know, I feel like for the most part, I feel pretty supported, where, like, sometimes, like, it's only ever from, like, the older generation, because, like, they kind of have their old way of beliefs, which, like, it's not, like, I don't feel supported by them, but, like, it kind of is, like, you know, like, a little bit, like, like, is this all necessary kind of situation? Because it's kind of like little like micro things like over time, but it's also like, you know, like it's like I don't really like take it that much to heart, because like I am like, we're the younger generation and like they are the older generation. I'm saying, like, obviously like they have a lot of wisdom and stuff, but like their way of doing things is different than what's going on now. And so like I do respect, you know, whatever the older generation has to say, but like, yeah, it's never like, it's just like little like micro things like over time, like it's never anything like that big. Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody that's going down a similar path as you, or maybe looking up to you and wanting to do what you're doing?
Oh my god, that's intense. I would kind of say that like to always like kind of trust like your gut feeling, like do what you want to do. Like a lot of times I thought of like, oh well, what are they gonna think, or you know, like should I just be like, you know, like everybody else, like just go to school, like what do I need to play sport for? It's like, but it's also like you have to like you know what your passions are. Like when you really like think about it, like you know what your passions are, you know what you want to do, and you just have to follow that. Like a lot of people say like, oh, you know, just like do what you want to do. But the thing is like, there's going to be so many outside opinions on what like your goals are, what you want to do. And it's like you do still have to take those opinions in, but you don't have to really use them. Like, I don't know, I think for a long time I let the like opinions of other people affect me. Like I said, like that was a fact. Like most, like all decisions I made, like let's say like up until like grade 10, like most decisions I made was affected by someone or something. And then like, you know, that's not really like the way to live, because are you living your life how you want to live, or are you living how others want you to live? So that's what I mean. Like, I guess that's the kind of like the thing, like live, like nothing is really like that serious. Like no one's gonna get mad at you for going down, like for example, being a student athlete. Like it's not the end of the world, you know what I'm saying? And even if you're like have like doubt, like I had a lot of doubt myself. It was like I had a lot of doubt myself, like like why, like should I even go, like why don't I just like, you know, like it's gonna be added stress, da da da. But like thing is like nothing's ever like concrete. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to stick with something forever. Like you can try something out and then you don't like it, you can move on. So for example, like being a student athlete, like if I'm like, okay, I can't balance this, like it's not it, like I just won't play the next year. Like it's not that big of a deal, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
You just told us a little bit about the advice you would give somebody going down a similar path. What's some of the best advice you've received so far?
Dang, I really gotta think about this.
Take your time.
Like most of the advice, like the best advice that I've received is always from my dad. I feel like in terms of like the next chapter of my life, like the best advice that he's given me, or like I mean like I've gotten the advice from other people too, but like talks about it a lot, is kind of like kind of putting yourself as a priority. Like it's obviously like a new thing, so like, you know, you want to introduce new people into your life, like you want to do different things, but like you don't have to take things that, I think like kind of the moral of it is that like you don't really have to take things like that fast. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously like society has this like, oh, like do this and this and this, like this concrete plan, but like life is on your own timing, and you know what I'm saying, like you don't need to rush into anything or anything like that. So it's always just making sure that like, you know, like that, like, you know, like you go on your own timing and not on anyone else's timing. And I feel like that's really helpful, because like it's easy to like compare, like, oh, like this person's same age as me, look what they're doing, and it's like, what am I doing? And so like that kind of like when you get stuck in that, like it's just like it's just a never ending like loophole, you know? So, you know, like you kind of always like make sure that like, you know, like your path is different than somebody else's, because, you know, if we were all on the same path, then no one would be different in society, you know what I'm saying? We would just literally be like a bunch of robots, we'd all be the same. So I feel like that's a big one. There's one more actually that I forgot. Well, I guess this is kind of the same thing as before, but like one of the big lessons is like always like stuck with me is like kind of like, it's kind of the same thing as before, but it makes more sense. It's like not to like follow like the herd of people, you know what I'm saying? If everybody's going this way, go that way, like, because what are like, you're just gonna end up being the same as the people going this way. But like where the real progress is made and where the real change is made is when you go on your own path, like this. If we visualize it. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
You good?
Yeah. I think about 2 years from now, my future self, it doesn't seem like that, like much time. 2 years from now, I would be